Hey everyone, it's Phil Kerner, the Tool and Die Guy, here tonight with another tip. And I know you guys kind of live and breathe this stuff, so I thought I'd throw you a little picture tonight of my work area. And this is my main workhorse right here, my VTC 20 Mazak. You can see a vise set up there. It's a 40, well, it's about a 50-inch table, 40-inch travel. And I have a vise set up there. I usually have two up there, but I always keep one to the left in case they need a rush job thrown in. So that's an old Kurt vise. I have a new one sitting here that would normally go up on the right. If we look around here, got a little wooden block I made for countersinks, some other little tools I use occasionally, and then I've got a hand tapping machine from like the 1940s there, but I love that thing. And I use it occasionally when I've got a hardened block or a block of tough steel and I've put a bunch of work in it and two holes need tapped. I really don't want to risk power tapping them and breaking a tap. You'll spend longer to get the broken tap out than you would building the whole block. I've got a little small drill press here that I usually use for just countersinking parts if I'm doing some reduction work. Little surface plate here, very little surface plate with a height gauge. That's the part I got done working on, and that's what we're going to talk about. Over here I've got a collection of different oils and solutions I use for tapping mostly. And then this, of course, is one toolbox, two toolboxes, and a third toolbox. Keep some of my paperwork up here and a little can of Stoddard solvent because nothing breaks down oils and cleans apart better than Stoddard solvent. It's still the best. And, of course, the most important part of my work area are my Penn State football posters. Okay, so let's move along to today's lesson. Got this part, and as you can see, I'm overhanging the table. And what I had to do, this part was furnished to me Blanchard ground on both sides, and as you can see, it's about a 24-inch diameter. And this pattern I have to replicate on this side. I couldn't reach the whole thing and cut this inside diameter. So there's a couple different ways. What I want to talk to you about is, one thing I did know, and what I'm trying to teach you today, is how to re-pick up a part. If somebody gave you a part that already has two holes in it and they said, make sure these two holes are lined up straight. Well, how do you do that? What's a good way to do that? And I've got a gauge pin in this hole, and later on in the video I do slide another gauge pin into this hole. These holes are 0.688 in diameter. They're already in, and I've got to get them aligned up, okay? Now, the old-fashioned way, and the way that makes you waste a lot of time, and something I would have done as an apprentice, is I would have put my indicator in and put it down in this hole, then ran it across to the other side, and go back and forth until I finally get these two holes lined up. Or you could put a pin in the hole. It's a little better, and run it back and forth to get the two pins straightened out. Well, the best way to do that is just take a block. This is a fixture I just had sitting there. It's a block of cold roll. And cold roll this way along the thicker side. This is like a 3 by 1 inch piece of cold roll. It'll be pretty straight. And you can't see, I've got a pin here. This pin must have slipped down, but there's another pin right in this area. And I've bumped this cold roll bar up. Now I can just indicate this bar up. And what I actually did was slightly tighten this clamp over here. And I just wedged it, so I could have a hinge point, and then now I can just take my indicator back and forth across the bar much faster. And there's another view of it, and there's a pin in that hole, a pin in this hole, and I'm just running my indicator back and forth until I get it straightened out. And then finally, my last step is, once I had the two pins straightened out, I have to tram this circle to get back in the center of this diameter. And this is an old tramming bar I made about 25 years ago, and basically it's stuck in an Albrecht chuck here, and I can move this shaft back and forth. There's a thumb screw here, and I can tram a pretty big circle in, probably about a 40-inch circle. And then I have a universal indicator holder here in my indicator. Now you'll see I have clamps here, and what I do is I indicate here to here until I get 0, and then I double check it and go from here to here. You don't have to freak out because you can't get right in the center. If you're good, if you're 0 from here to here, and then from here all the way around to here, you're good. So if you have 0 there, 0 there, 0 there, and 0 there, you're good to go. All right, now one last tip I'm going to throw in. This is a great tip for you to not ruin your work. When you're handed a piece that's already been milled or especially ground, you don't want to, these little clamps will put a definite divot into your workpiece, and it really ruins the way the work looks. It makes you look like a hack. So what you want to do under your toe clamps here is put a little piece of brass. Okay, anything aluminum or brass works the best, and that won't dent your parts. Okay, so that's kind of it. That's how I got two pins straight by putting a bar across them. Used my tramming bar then to tram the piece in. But the secret was here, or the instructions were, I had to get to finish this pattern, these set of holes. I had to do the same thing up here, but I had to get these two pins aligned. So that's why I used the bar in the video. So I hope this helps you out, and if you like the video and it helps you a little bit, hey, think about buying me a beer. I appreciate it, believe me.